Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. I'm Banjo Ben, your host here on the website that teaches you how to play the banjo, the guitar. This week is Mandolin Week. We're continuing our series on Angels We Have Heard on High, which sounds mighty fine, grassed all up. So we're going to learn this lesson. If you're watching here on BanjoBenClark.com as a Gold Peak member, you have everything you need right here on this page. Just scroll down for the rest of the video segments, all those MP3 jam tracks, your tabs, that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, then you'll need to come over to the website here in a moment, BanjoBenClark.com. You can become a Gold Peak member, have access to hundreds of songs, great lessons, Christmas or not. I have them all over there. Let's jump right into this solo for Angels We Have Heard on High. Let me encourage you with something right off the bat. This is more of an advanced solo, and you may not even think that you have time to learn it before Christmas or think that there's any context to play it. But I invite you to watch the lesson with me and to attempt learning it. Because we're going to talk a lot about just how to build solos and how to interpret melodies that move slowly. You know, whenever you take this melody for Angels We Have Heard on High, it's a very long, drawn-out melody, right? Full of quarter notes. Angels we have heard on high. So whenever you're playing a solo for that, you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? And even when you speed it up to bluegrass tempos, Angels we have heard on high, there's a lot of drawn out notes, especially in that verse. So we need to talk about how to interpret those, and that's going to help you whether it's this song or any other ones. Let's go ahead and throw up the first line of tab there. And we are in the key of G. As far as chords go in the song, we don't have anything too out of the ordinary. Christmas songs always have one or two in there that are fun. But we're in key of G, so we've got G, C, D. We've got an E minor. Once we get into the chorus, we'll have an E major and an A minor. That's when it gets really fun. Lord. So we're going to start here with a little walk-in. And then the actual melody is going to start there where we see the word verse. Now here's the melody note. Angels we have heard on high. And if I'm going to really interpret the melody to my listeners, there's a few of these key points of the melodies that I need to grab. One being this note, and then we need to make it up to here. And we need to catch this as well. So if I was thinking about improvising this, or if I was thinking about writing a solo and going into the solo, or going into the studio, I know that I want to try to accentuate. Boom, bum, 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 bum. So as long as we get that in there, people are going to know what song we're playing. Now, what are the different ways that we can get that? Well, I was always a really big fan of Tyminski's playing, especially with the Lonesome River Band. And that's what we're going to do a little bit here. We're going to pick a G double stop. Our index finger is going to be on the melody, and then we're going to have one of the other chord tones of a G. Let's use that G note here on the 5th fret and go back and forth with some cross-picking type stuff to help accentuate that melody. Now, one way that we can keep it from just being boring and going is to throw a few little ornaments in there, and that's what we're going to do halfway through measure 3. We're also going to mess with the syncopation. So sometimes I have a couple notes in between this melody note, sometimes none, sometimes one. So, and try to keep those notes ringing out. So coming to measure 5, we've got kind of a Monroe lick, landing back on that melody note, and then another walk-in. So that's just fun to do, and I just want to encourage you whenever you're playing a song and it's got these long drawn-out melody notes that are, especially that are on the same note. Angels we have, there's 4 melody notes on the same note. So we can play that melody note, grab another note, it can be below or above it, that's in that same chord, and then just do this little cross-picking type pattern back and forth, and then to make it even more interesting, throw in little ornaments. We could have done it above the melody note, and it would have sounded just fine. Let's play the whole line, and just keep in mind we'll play the whole verse slowly later on as a gold pick member. That's really fun to do. Some of the same idea in measure 7. But we're going to walk chromatically into measure 9. And I'm going to play that 3 and 4 using both my middle finger for both frets. But I'm going to pick the note each time. And then whenever I come down to measure 9, I will use all 3 fingers. It's easier for me to use the same finger for adjacent frets going up for whatever reason. I think when I was little and I used to play violin, I would always go, and I would exercise like that, and I wouldn't do it coming down as much, so it's just easier for me. I could do it both ways, but I find that whenever I come back down to measure 9, it's easier just to use all those fingers. The whole line. Again, the walk up. Now we're going to change it up a little bit because I think that we've gotten enough of that type of motif. So now I'm going to open it up a little bit. I'm going to change the harmony note from down below the melody note to above it. And I'm still going to use a double stop, but instead of doing this pattern, we're going to play them together. And once I land there, measure 12. Same thing, here's a melody note, but now we've changed chords to an E. So if you want to know where my melody is, you can forget the top notes, and it would sound like this. But whenever we throw in the harmony, it sounds like this. Pretty cool, huh? As we get into the next line, we're going to get a little bit more aggressive. I don't have any notes written to play on the 3rd and 4th strings, but those are legal here, and I did play them a little bit in the performance. I'm going to really loosen up my wrist. Okay, that type of thing. You can play those as heavy as you want, or you can stay on the first 2 strings. Whatever you want to do. But we have those little X's on the 3rd beat of measure 15. Those are dead notes. So I'm going to keep my fingers right where they are on my left hand. I'm just going to raise them off raise the tension up a little bit so that they're dead. So measure 15 slowly sounds like this. Carrying that into 16. That's really a great way to add some percussive elements into your mandolin playing, and it's not very hard. You're just pulling your fingers off. You know, if I wasn't doing that, it would sound like this. Okay, but whenever I add some of those dead notes in, nothing's changing with my right hand. Okay, I'm still just, but I'm just pulling the pressure off a little bit on my left hand to create some of that effect. Measure 17. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be perfect. That whole line, slowly. Oh, sorry. Then we're going to go into our chorus, which is so fun because that's really pretty. And we're going to interpret it two different ways too, because we're going to go through it twice. If you're watching here on the website, let's play all the way through this verse very slowly, from the top to the bottom. And then we'll dive into that chorus. And yeah, so I'll see you in just a minute.